Hello, this is Daryl at 10 Foot Truck, Good Attitude Services. I'm trying to film with the camera sideways. I'm getting complaints. A guy, a friend of mine from Tennessee, doesn't like the way I film. So I'm filming it sideways to get used to seeing the full screen. I guess it works. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I want to do a video on. I did an app for the first time called Angi's Services. Anyway, it's an app you can get just like all those other apps like Uber and all that. And I did a moving labor job through their app, and it actually turned out really good. So the reason why I'm saying this is because when you don't have work, like I don't have work with my truck, as opposed to getting a W-2 and having a strict schedule where it's not flexible, I can use these apps to get work in between times I'm not doing my truck job. So that's why I have like about 9 different apps, food delivery apps. I have transport apps like Roadie and then Load Up, and then I just signed up for Angi Services, which I think is you get a lot of these assembly. Like for instance, there's jobs every single day I see. I just happened to pick the moving labor job, and it went really quick. And the thing what I like about it, as opposed to doing the food service delivery jobs, is that on those jobs you never really talk to anybody. You can't network. You're not doing the service that you're doing with your business. With this one, I did a moving labor job, so I could basically talk to the customer about if they needed other types of services, so I could do some networking, and they could pass out my information for if someone else needed transport in a truck or junk removal. So it seems to me like it's a little bit easier for networking, and you're out there, it's free. You're getting paid to be out there, and you're doing your work, and then possibly you're also getting referrals out of that. And also, it turned out to be really good pay for the job I did. I only worked, it was a very easy job, just, well, it wasn't easy, I mean, it was a heavy table, but it was just a real simple job. It wasn't, took about maybe a half an hour, and I got tipped and I got paid, so I made like $78, which for that time is very good, because it wasn't like I spent all day there, and they were very nice people, so I was able to network with them for possible future jobs. They may need some things removed later, or their friends may, pass my number around. But anyway, I want to get on this Angi's list. I'm right here looking at it, and it gives you a calendar for Angi Services, not Angi. You can't confuse this with Angi's List. Angi's List is a whole separate company, I think, or a separate part of I'm not sure, actually, to tell you the truth. Angi Services, it's not like a lead company. I've talked to Angi's leads. That's a whole different story. This here just presents jobs. I think a lot of them look like they come through Wayfair, Walmart, Target for assembly, and then there's a lot of lawn trimming and maintenance, lawn maintenance. So like here in my area, see assembly, lawn, assembly, TV mounting, assembly, lawn, and so forth. And sometimes you'll have junk removal jobs, I've seen those, and then of course moving labor. Now it goes all the way through the month here, so you'll see all these jobs ahead of time, so you can kind of look at them and then you can pick those jobs. The pay is really good for one of these apps. You get a decent payout, and then you can also eventually get instant pay just like the other apps. So that's what I like about it. I like it, it's flexible, so I can do it whenever I want, and I can add that, and I can also be out there networking while I'm doing the job. I also noticed that I got some Load Up. That's the other app I use, Load Up, for junk removal. Now I noticed they're advertising moving jobs, so moving labor. So there was like a loading a pod and unloading a pod and then moving some boxes, which I hadn't seen before on Load Up. Load Up was mainly junk removal. So I guess they're starting to add in moving labor services, probably because the summertime is when you get a lot of that work for loading pods and loading moving trucks. So that ought to be interesting. So they might start getting more work, because last summer on Load Up, I only noticed junk jobs, junk removal jobs, and so now they're getting into that market. So between what I like about Angi's services is that the pay is more professional pay. I know when you're doing your own jobs, of course, you can charge whatever you want. So, but you can look on here, and if the pay looks good, then you can take the job. So, but the pay is more professional than doing DoorDash or the food and delivery apps, where they're only paying you like $5, $8, whatever it is for delivery, and you're hoping you get a tip. Well, here you're gonna see your pay up front, and then you even get a tip after that. So, but they're paying you your typical labor. When you go out and do labor work, you expect to get like $30 an hour, right? I mean, minimum. When I'm doing the truck, I try to factor in the truck as a tool, so I'm getting that paid for, and also my insurance and everything. So when I'm doing the truck, I want to get $80 to $100 an hour minimum, and I really don't go per hour. I go by truckload. But if I do calculate all the expenses, I do want to get minimum, and I mean minimum, $80 an hour. But that has to cover the truck and all that. So when you're doing these labor jobs like I did with the moving, I'm not having to use the truck. I can drive out there with a car, and I'm still getting, in that case, I was getting like, and it worked out to be like $78 for 2 hours, but the 2 hour minimum, I think that's what they have. But you're really not working the full time. You're just getting the job done, and then they pay you for that job. And I've noticed a lot of these jobs, like lawn trimming and mowing, I think you have to have your own equipment. That's $50. Now you probably would charge more if you were doing your own, but since they're doing the marketing and all that, they're paying you $50 for one job I see here, which is 2.5 hours. So I don't know if I would take that, because there's another one that says $75 for the same job. So you look at that and go, well, you kind of figure out which one you want to do. But most of the jobs are $50 and over, and they're usually not more than 2 hours. I'm not sure if it's a 2 hour minimum they're putting in there, because some of the assembly work, I've done assembly jobs before in the past. I did a lot of furniture assembly, so I'm going to try some on here when I see one that's close by. Like I see one here is an assembly job, and it's $53, and that's pretty good, because sometimes it'll take, I don't know if it's going to take the full amount of time. Usually depending on what it is to assemble, it may not take that much time, but they're going to pay you whatever they put here. I think on this, whatever price they're putting here, it looks like it covers up to that time. So I would assume that if you do it in a timely manner, you're going to get a little bit more pay. Or if it takes a little bit longer than that, then I guess I don't know how that works. I see some of the lawn jobs for $105. So yeah, I mean, it's just, you can go do one of these jobs and you get like $50, $60, $75 or $100, as opposed to having to go out and do these driving around doing Uber Eats and all that, where you're burning your car up and you're doing multiple stops. And by the time you get that 50, you've done, how many stops have you done? 10 stops. Where this, you're just going to the one location, and you're spending maybe 2 hours there, and then you're getting your pay. So I like that better because it's less mileage on the car. And then also the fact that it kind of lines in with the services that I'm providing, that I provide with the truck. So it's more in alignment with what I'm doing, so that makes it easier to market and to network while you're out there. Because if you're out there advertising, you're having to pay for an ad, you're going to have to pay, say like Craigslist, you pay $5 per ad. So if I went out to a job, was getting paid to do a job, and also talking about what my services were outside of that, I wouldn't have to pay for that. I'm already getting paid, and I'm just networking. Now, I don't know the policy on that. I have to look that up. Some of these companies, they prefer that you're not marketing your own business. I haven't seen anything about that on here, and I have to look that up and report that back to you, because the clients are fine with that, but like sometimes you'll look at these apps and you'll see, there'll be a terms of agreement where you're not supposed to, when you're out on the job, you're not supposed to be marketing your own business or your own services. You're only supposed to be focusing on them. I can understand that, but it doesn't appear that way here. But I'm not going to quote that because I haven't gone through all that. So we'll see. But I'm just saying that you're gonna get better pay with this app when you're doing your side jobs. Because like I noticed that if I do a W-2, which I've done in the past, and then try to market my services, unfortunately the W-2 is so strict on your schedule that you might miss out on jobs. Like I had a guy call me the other day. He wanted that job done the next day, or sometimes they want it done that day or within an hour, or they want it during the week when you might be doing your W-2, and they want it at noon or 1 o'clock. So I don't want to have that schedule, especially in the summertime. That's going to take that time away from me to where I can get jobs that are going to pay me a fair, what I want to get paid. I want $80 an hour or minimum. If I have to do like an app like this, I understand they're doing the marketing and all that. So yeah, maybe 50 an hour, maybe 30 an hour. But on my own, it's 80 to 100 an hour, or even more. Sometimes I don't like to look at it hourly because that kind of limits me. So that's why I do these apps to try to integrate. Since I'm just getting going in this area, I do have a lot of gaps where I need to fill. And once the gaps are filled, and then I've networked enough, I've got enough customer base here, I won't really need to use these, but it's always good to have something in the background in case things slow down, as opposed to having to go get in W-2. And then that just takes up your whole schedule. And then I've done that before where I missed out on so many jobs when I was doing a W-2. I was missing out on I was getting calls and I couldn't do it because they wanted it done tomorrow or the next day. So you might miss out $600 or $1,000. You can miss out on a big payout if you're not flexible. So you really need that flexibility. You're either going to have that kind of money already saved up from whatever your job you did before, and just have that as an emergency fund or a fund to keep you going, which I don't have right now, or you're going to have to do these flexible type work to fill in the gaps. And then once you do get things rolling, where you want it, where you don't need to do this, then you're set. So it's kind of what I was talking about. What I'll do is I'll do a little more research on this Angi's Services to see what their policy is on promoting your own services while you're on the job. They may not have a problem, I don't know. It's hard to say with these apps. You got to read all their fine print and all that. So for now, I'm not really worried about it. If they say something about it, then I guess I'll have to not promote if I want to stay on the app. But people tend to want to find out about what you're doing outside of that. That's just usually what happens. So we'll see. Anyway, there's some noise out there. What's going on out there? Good Attitude Services, 10-foot truck. Good Attitude Services. Have a great day. And I'm gonna do another short video after this. I'm gonna do a video about my junk removal. I'll do that after this, about the amount that I paid for the dump. I just want to do the short video on this app and apps like that. Signing out. Hope you have a great day.